I'm Amber Davies and welcome to Call to Stage. This is the space where musical theatre takes centre stage. From unforgettable backstage stories with incredible special guests to insights from my life and my theatre journey. We're leaving it all on the mic every single week, so let's jump in. Hi guys, welcome back to Call to Stage with me, Amber Davies. Now, I'm getting my cherry popped here a little bit because I've never had two guests on at the same time. I was a little bit overstimulated coming into work today because both of them have CVs like I've never seen before, and they're two current con men. It's the wonderful Ramin Karimloo and Hadley Fraser.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, everyone listening and watching.
I was just explaining how I feel like I'm intruding like a first date. These two have a chemistry like I've not seen before, actually.
Yeah.
I'm really intruding, aren't I?
Not at all, actually, no. But I'm sorry we've given you that impression.
I feel a bit left out.
You shouldn't do. What I'm enjoying is the fact that even after 20 years, it still feels like a first date.
First date.
What a 20 years that must speak to.
We should write down the key to the key to success.
Yeah, write some sort of self-help book for relationships.
And apply to the rest of our lives as well.
Anyway,
Now,
thanks for having us, Amber.
Thank you. No, thank you for coming. I ask this to all my guests. Pick any role you've ever played. Have you ever had a specific ritual that you do before going on stage? Whether that's sing a certain line, say a certain word, or like suck a certain sweet. You didn't
Have
know
a
I
way
was
with words from the opening till now.
Yeah. I haven't sucked a certain sweet.
Okay.
When I played Javert, actually, with Ramin, maybe you've heard this before, but I did get into the habit of not being able to go on stage until I'd sung through everything that I sing.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never done it in any other show. And I don't know what it was about that particular role, but I felt like unless I'd sung the entire score, every single thing that I do, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And I got to the end of that contract and had a word with myself.
Can't do that again.
Can't do that again.
Were you doing it full out or just like
Just
at speed?
Yeah,
Was
mumbling.
it a lyric thing or was it a can I reach the note thing?
Undeniably a lyric thing.
Yes.
Ramin will tell you that lyrics occasionally aren't my strong points.
Okay.
I think I've got better as the years have gone on, but certainly
Which is unusual.
It is unusual, isn't it? Yeah. Usually with age, your mind becomes more decrepit. And mine was obviously at its most decrepit at age 31.
Means he drinks less now.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
basically
I
it.
see. I see.
Self-help book, chapter 6. Drink less.
Part of our keys to success.
So that's my one. What about you?
It's funny you mentioned that. With Funny Girl, for the first maybe month, I would go through every scene in the dressing room because it was so wordy and that style to keep that era, the way they spoke back then in the comedy, you don't leave air. You're just on top of each other's lines, just toss the ball back and forth. With Phamtom and Valjean, I won't do it now because I probably won't be able to do it, but
Do it.
the note soar, I would just try and sing that, or the last note to Bring Him Home.
Yes.
And that would be a mind thing.
But here's the thing. Can I let you in on something?
Yes, please.
Even when Ramin's not doing that show, like I've been abroad with him on the other side of the world, like in China or Japan, and we'll be arranging to go to the theatre or like go for lunch or something like that, and I'll be waiting in the foyer of a hotel, and I'll just hear like coming down the corridor, I'll just hear, oh. Yeah, it's fine.
It's like to make sure you've still got it.
Yeah, but it becomes a tick in a way. I don't know. It's subconscious at this point. It's half the time I don't know I'm doing it. I'll wake up and it's the first thing I would check is the soar or the home.
It's
What
really
happens with
difficult,
Scoundrels?
isn't it? It's crazy what our minds can do. That's how I think. And
Or
I
the
think
games we play, the cons,
Yeah.
the tricks. Yeah, absolutely. It's dangerous.
it is
Don't listen to
dangerous.
yourself.
No.
Ignore
Don't
yourself.
listen to your minds.
hmm
Not the negative thoughts, at least.
Hmm.
You got to say good things about yourself.
You need to be your own number one fan.
100%.
Hadley.
Self-help book,
That's
chapter
probably
8.
step-
That's
We
no, that's
really
earlier
are.
chapters.
earlier. That's chapter 2.
That we really are kind of doing
Yeah.
that, aren't we?
Yeah,
But
let's.
without getting all hokey about it, it is true, Words cast spells. And I think
Yeah.
if you don't believe those things of yourself, then how can other people? Or if you don't see yourself doing it, then how will it ever happen?
I love that.
Truth-telling. I have to remind myself that all we're really doing is getting up in a room in front of people and saying some lines.
I know.
Yep.
Because otherwise it can
Entertaining.
become so much bigger than that, can't it?
It could be like heart surgery sometimes. You feel like
And-
you're performing heart surgery.
100%. And we aren't extraordinary. We just happen to be the people to serve this piece at that moment of time. And I think if we take that pressure off ourselves, that's all we're doing. It's up to other people how they're going to receive it, if they're going to be moved, what emotions they'll feel. We're not here to dictate how they feel. I'm serving Sarah Rule's words and Elvis Costello's music right now. That's it.
That's amazing.
Easier said than done.
Yeah,
I put pressure
easier.
on myself, don't get me wrong, but I'm trying to remind myself of that.
I always like to take my guests right back. When was that the earliest stages of life that you knew you could sing or realised I want to do this for a living? Because Hadley, you went to Royal Academy of Music, didn't you?
I did, yeah. Yeah.
Like, I would love to know, did you have parents that pushed you? Everyone has a different story. It's amazing.
I mean, mine was, I suppose, a confluence of two different things, which was parents who were very supportive. And I was very, very fortunate, I think, at the time when I grew up. You know, had a very regular upbringing, went to comprehensive school. But I suppose when I was growing up, there was a very, very solid music school system where I lived, like peripatetic music teachers and all of that kind of stuff. And in my little primary school, one of the teachers played guitar.
Okay.
And she started like a little guitar group. And so I started playing the guitar and really, really loved it. And it sort of grew from there, to be honest, Amber. So it's sort of slightly by chance.
Okay.
Like it often is for a lot of people. It's by chance when you start off discovering the things that you really, really like.
Mm-hmm.
And then I suppose as I got older into my teens and things, it became a bit more formalized. I was classically trained vocally and then went to university to do drama. There was one moment where I thought, I understand the power of musical theatre.
Okay.
But it was at my secondary school and I was in the audience and my brother was doing a production of West Side Story and he was playing Bernardo. Very sweet when I think about it, really. And it was probably quite a catastrophic production, really, in 1993 in Bracknell with the school band, the school orchestra playing. But I remember hearing the dance at the gym. And when the Puerto Rican music starts up, the mambo, hearing the congas come in and the dance on stage, I remember having this moment going, the narrative can be pushed forward with music. And you can hear things that you've never heard before. And you don't expect them to come out at you. And suddenly I just went, that's what I want to do. I understand now the power of narrative being pushed forward by music. And that sort of, I suppose I've always danced around lots of different things in that world. But that was the moment that I went, that's amazing. There's nothing else like that.
Wow, I love that. I love that it was from how someone made you feel.
Well, it's that old adage, isn't it? People won't remember what you say or the things that you do. They'll remember how you make them feel. And I think that's really, really truthful. I think I've thought a lot about it since then. And I'm not sure that much of that thought is really much use, to be honest. I've been back at the Royal Academy this term teaching, actually. And there's, sometimes you catch yourself droning on about things and trying to verbalise things in a certain way. And you think, actually, let's just get up and sing it, because there's not going to be any replacement. There's not going to be any substitute for how the thing makes you feel and understanding how it makes other people feel. Or the potential, just as you said, the story that you were telling, leaving it open to other people's interpretation. Anyway, that's enough from me.
That was amazing. I could listen to you all day. What about you? Where did you start? Where did you...
What's your problem?
Yeah. This is like an AA meeting. What about you?
That's a beautiful story, and mine is nowhere near.
Oh, it is.
I made a bet to be the Phantom, and that was it.
Isn't that a wonderful story?
Well, it's funny you mentioned, Amber, about someone made you feel a certain way, and it was a school trip to Phantom that I didn't want to go to.
Okay.
I was small town, Peterborough, Ontario. I just loved playing ice hockey, and I was at that time thinking maybe I could make the NHL, but I slowly realized that people were just getting bigger, and I was not. And I was watching Colm Wilkinson do the Phantom and the way he made me feel, and I thought, I want to do that. And at that point, I was listening to music and certain singers that would make me daydream, Joe Cocker, Tracy Chapman, even like Kenny Rogers. So then when Colm had such a unique sound, and the Phantom was so cool, and I thought, I want to do that. So I made a bet with my mate that I would become the Phantom, because they would hockey players, and I was one of the tough guys on the team, so I was like opera boy, so they would rip me about it. So I was like, I'm going to do it. But the turning point was when I started working in a sports bar in the back as the dishwasher / cook. The owner of that bar became like a father figure to me, Mikey Nelson. At that point, Mikey started taking me under his wing, and he knew I wanted to be the Phantom, but I would like kind of downplay because I thought maybe it wasn't cool or a tough guy thing. And he introduced me to his girlfriend at the time, was now his wife, Amra, and he goes, Ramin, tell him what you want to be. And I was like, oh, what are you talking about? He's like, no, say it. He wants to be the Phantom of the Opera. How cool is that? And I remember thinking, well, if he thinks it's cool, then that's awesome. I'm going to do it. And that was the turning point.
And well, you definitely did that. Now, can I just say to both of you, you have worked a lot together, but you first met in Les Mis, correct?
That's right.
Correct.
Was it like bromance from the get-go?
You were probably just intimidated
I was.
by my size.
Do you know what?
The heft.
I'll never forget the shoot. I was. You know, I looked. Buddy, I looked up to you from that day because obviously I was his understudy.
Yes.
I think I was second Marius at that time, wasn't I? No, first Marius, second Enjolras. But I remember watching you work from day one, and it wasn't one of those things where I was like, oh, I could do it. I was like, oh, I see why I'm his cover.
Oh, I love that.
And then I just would watch and learn, and there was other great talent in that cast too. Yeah, I knew I had to earn my stripes, so to speak. So I also knew his education, his background, his training. I thought, okay, but I took that as inspiration rather than anything other than
Intimidation.
When did we start hanging out, though? I know we bonded over Subway sandwiches.
Yes, ma'am.
Grand deal.
I don't know.
Would you like to mention?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, hang on. You have to elaborate on that. What do you mean?
Did I introduce you to Subway, or you knew about
No,
Subway?
I was already on the Subway train.
So I probably said, wait
Yeah.
again for lunch. You want to go for lunch,
Subway.
Hadley?
Yeah.
What'd you
Oh,
say?
it really was as
Subway.
simple as that.
I think we were probably the only people who would have done it too.
And I said, do you get 12 or 6 inch?
12.
Why do you got to... See...
Sorry.
Take it easy.
I did wake up on the wrong side of the bed today, and it
Or right side.
or the
Yeah.
right side.
You know.
Mind you, just coming back to what you were saying though, it comes full circle because I went to see his show the other night and I sat there just sort of feeling inspired about what this man can do on stage. And so as much as you sort of go, oh yeah, that's how it began, it still continues. And it felt like a system upgrade going to watch Ramin the other night, kind of going, all right, yeah, oh, I've got to do better on that. He does that. Okay.
It's like
That's
you
something
push
for me
each other.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say it's probably conscious. I don't know.
No, and I think when we recorded New York State of Mind on that EP that time, I remember that conversation driving back, and you made a comment of like, because I was like, I want to be able to, how do you do that with your voice? And you complimented me by going, yeah, but I like that rawness that you bring. I always think Hadley's like the refined aspect of our creative partnership.
Well, perhaps it's more that there's a sort of, we don't occupy the same territory, I suppose, in theatre terms, I think, in the way that we perform, certainly, I suppose, who we are as people. You know, we have distinct differences. And funnily enough, you know, perhaps this is a week in which distinct differences sometimes have been laid to bear. But, you know, over the last couple of days, we've been talking about stuff and, you know, we find common ground and humour in most circumstances. So I don't know. Opposites attract, going back to first dates.
Yes, opposites. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh, you don't give me...
Yeah.
I was going to say when I told you about the
Have you
kiss.
completely lost it?
Oh, because it also started like, when I saw you as Javert, that's where the system upgrade really happened as well. I was like, everything up until now felt like training. And then seeing you redefine that role. There was many times where we're up for the same roles, but we always had the thing of, well, if I get it, next one's for you. If you get it, next one's for me. And there was a time where we were up for the same role, literally going in and out of the room. And we made a thing of like, I just took it up a semitone. He goes in, it's up another semitone. And I said, well, one of us has to stop because it's going to get hard. And then we were in 2 separate rooms. One was working on the song and one was working on the scene. So I went to start working on the scene while Hadley went in the other room, started working on the song. And I'm with the director doing the scene. In the song, there's this massive note. He hits the note and it's just like a rifle coming through the room. And I just looked at the director and we all knew what we were listening to. I went, that's the guy.
Oh.
That's the guy for the part.
Oh my God, don't, because that actually makes me want to cry.
I didn't get it.
Who got it?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Oh. I do want to mention as well, I did do a little bit of stalking and I got to a video on YouTube and it's you guys singing One Day More. And you had Nat, Sam, Holly, Earl there. What I noticed was that there was lots of humour on that stage, lots of jokes. When you work together, is there any difficulty concentrating?
I am a little concerned how we're going to get through some of these scenes. No, I think we'll be fine.
I would say that's a lot of the reason why Dirty Rotten Scoundrels makes a great deal of sense for us to do together. We've not actually done a show together since Les Mis, really, like a full...
Well, the last one was Phamtom 25th, right?
25th anniversary you did together.
That was the last time we did a show.
Yeah, you're true.
Oh, no, Les Mis.
That's what I mean.
Valjean and Javert. Yeah.
That's what I mean. Yeah, so we've not done like a full-scale production for a while. And I suppose occasionally in our working life, you know, the times that we have crossed over, it's been in those slightly more, so we say, serious shows.
Okay.
Les Mis, Phantom, those kind of things. So for us to do something that I suppose leans more into the idea that on stage it's hard for us to keep a straight face, it feels like it's right, doesn't it?
Yeah, and the reunion's a different animal. It's we want to celebrate reuniting. I'm going to sound like I'm the spiel from the show, but it's like we're grateful for the supporters. So now we're in China, we're in Shanghai, Beijing, whether we go to Tokyo, to these people who come over and travel to our show. So that's more for fun. But also that specific moment with that one day more, because obviously in the show it's much more poignant.
Yeah.
In the reunion, like we're doubling up on parts, and then someone threw some costume. We're like, oh, well, I'm going to go grab it. So it became, we're celebrating what brought us together rather than trying to perform the drama of that song at that moment in time.
So as we've naturally got along, you have mentioned Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, 24th of November, London Palladium.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm guessing you've both done the Palladium before.
Yes,
ma'am.
Plenty of times.
Well, we played as a band together there.
It was Ramin Karimloo, but it's for both. So occasionally I go and moonlight for Ramin on guitar and various things when he's doing his concerts. And we had a band together for a while. Ramin then sort of, I suppose, explored that world more fulsomely than I did, but occasionally he's very kindly asked me to come and play for him and things like that. So yeah, we did the Palladium together, which was great.
Oh,
but we've done
that
it
is so
independently
special.
too.
Yeah, I'll never forget that because it's the first time with a band show we were behind a curtain that went up. So we're all in place, ready to go. I'm looking at Hadley. I'm like, what's up? He goes, I'm a little nervous. I'm like, you're nervous? Don't you get nervous? He's like, yeah, but it's the Palladium and we're sold out. I was like, so I'm like, if he's nervous, he's my rock. Now if he's nervous, I'm
gone.
Good.
Yeah, it was your name above the above the door.
Can I ask, have you started rehearsals?
What would
We
you like
had a
us to
vocal
say?
call.
Yeah, we have. Yeah,
At this point in time, we've had a vocal call. We've
started
We've
rehearsals.
been texting as well about
Texting?
certain
running lines via
wow.
text.
So Act 1's done, basically.
Yeah, it's down. It's down. Concerts like this are sort of sometimes people are like, oh, you only get a couple of weeks to rehearse, but really that's all you need. Listen,
Yeah,
come on.
You do like any job. You do all your work on your own first as well.
Yeah.
So you can bring in ideas, and that's why we're looking forward to when we actually get in as a unit.
Is it sold out? Do we know?
No, it's not.
No. Well, I'm 100% going to book a ticket because I need to see this on stage. I need to see it with my eyes.
It makes a great deal of sense. One of the con men is sort of English and perhaps has ideas above his station. One of them is North American and also has ideas above his station. And they try to con a woman. And it's a really brilliantly written script.
Okay.
The score, I think, is one of the finest scores to have come out of Broadway in the last 25 years. I saw it on Broadway when it was first there, and I remember coming away from it just going, I want to write shows like that. It's so whip smart, like it's so funny. And its premise, I suppose, is so tightly structured. Like the script is beautiful, but at its heart, it is just goddamn funny. Like it's just fun. Like there's no other. I did a show with Mel Brooks a few years ago, and his thing was like, is it funny? If it's not funny, toss it out.
Yeah.
And I think that's the kind of guiding principle with this one. It is just really good fun. So I'm hoping that's what our sort of guiding principle is going to be for this one.
Yeah, and it's one of these things where it's like a shame it's just one night.
I was just about to say that.
2 shows, one night.
Two shows, one night.
2 shows, one night.
Just one day.
Come see it.
Yes, book your tickets. I mean, I'm 100% going to be there.
Amazing.
There's a couple of questions I want to ask you guys. However, you've both had amazing, amazing careers so far. You know, I'm just going to name a couple of bits. Ramin, 25th Les Mis concert, Phamtom. You've had a long-running relationship with Phamtom, haven't you?
Longer than people think.
Yes.
No, yeah, meaning it's that DVD that people think I'm still Phamtom. I've done interviews and people are like, so you've played Phantom for 16 years now? I'm like,
Oh
what?
my gosh.
No, I've done it one contract, Love Never Dies once, and the 25th anniversary. That's it.
Oh.
And then a short new version in Italy for 2 weeks. But
Yes. You also did Sunset, didn't you?
yes, a couple of times.
You did.
Yeah.
So you love the Andrew Lloyd Webber.
He does write a good
Serial.
tune. Can't deny
Can't
that.
deny it.
Yeah.
Camelot, Miss Saigon, Love Never Dies, as you said. Broadway, you did original workshop of Anastasia.
I did Anastasia as well.
Yes, you did. Funny Girl. And then Japan, Evita, Jesus Christ Superstar, like the list goes on. Hadley, I want to ask you about this. Les Mis at the O2.
Yeah.
Arena.
It was fun to do together. That wasn't.
Oh,
good
you
fun,
both
wasn't
did it?
Yes, ma'am.
Together?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, Ramin was Enjolras.
It was Grand Terre.
I was the drunk
You were a drunk.
student, and I didn't have to struggle too much to find that role.
No.
Amber.
Go
No, that
back
was
to
really good
self-help
fun.
book.
That was great fun.
Yes, assume this is chapter 6, probably at this point.
Yeah.
Arena,
Accountability.
is that intimidating?
I enjoyed the arena setting more. It feels less intimidating, to be fair, because it's just too big to even comprehend.
Less personal.
The only time I found it intimidating was when I missed a piece of direction because I was getting a costume fitted or something, and nobody told me that at this moment where all the students die, we'd rehearsed it a certain way where all the students were going to stay on stage for a certain amount of bars, like 16 bars, I can't remember what it was. And no one told me the first performance, I think it was, no one gave me the redirection that we were all to go off at the top of this piece of music. And the stage is so big, it's so huge, that really in your peripheral vision you've got nothing. Even if you're stood next to someone, you can't see. It's like being in a sort of aircraft hangar. I couldn't feel everybody leaving the stage. So there's me giving it power chest, Les Mis power chest, while everyone else is going off stage. This one, Hadley, I couldn't hear because it's so like the orchestra, and I'm still giving it power chest. I can't remember if it is a little moment on the DVD where you can actually see me, a cutaway. You can still see me just giving it these ones on stage, and then I sort of go, why isn't it? What?
I see the
scuttle off,
and I was like, I had to go, I'm like, Hadley, fuck him. He's on his own.
I'm literally dying. See, these are the moments we live for.
Oh God, yeah.
Iconic moments.
Yeah.
Hadley, City of Angels, The Winter's Tale, Young Frankenstein, The Secret Garden, Chess. Both of you are just really knee deep in many a shows.
Very grateful for that. Yeah.
What I'd like to ask both of you, each, one day in your career where you've thought, I'm never going to forget this moment.
The one we just talked about.
What? Les Mis chest?
Yeah. Maybe no, I don't think it was that soon. I can't. That's a hard question. You?
I feel it's hard to choose one. I'm very grateful that I'm spoiled for choice. Mm-hmm. I look back and now when I hear you say it back, it's like, oh damn! Like we've been very fortunate, and very grateful for that. You know, taking my final bow as Phamtom at the Royal Albert Hall, I'll never forget that. Just seeing people on their feet and I'm like, what? How did this happen?
Yeah.
Les Mis thing, having Colm Wilkinson come in for one night, my hero, to play the bishop when I was Jean Valjean in Toronto, and then we duet, bring him home together. Like, it's singing with Barbra Streisand. It's nuts.
Can I tell you another story? I won't forget this one either. With me, it's normally the bits that went wrong. With Ramin, it's like singing with Barbra Streisand and taking a bat.
So sorry.
I'm actually going to transport us back to something that you just mentioned, doing Phantom 25th at the Albert Hall. Mm-hmm. This one, Phantom, right?
Oh, God.
Sierra Vargas. Beautiful Christine, amazing. I was playing Raoul, right? I'd not worked with Andrew up until that point, and I don't really know Andrew all that well. Andrew came out and said, thank you to the original cast who were also there, the incredible ensemble.
This is in front of everyone.
This is in front of the entire Albert Hall, 3,500 people, or whatever it is.
God.
And then he comes to the cast who did it on the night. He's sort of saying to, and bear in mind this is also being broadcast worldwide. He says to Ramin, he's like, Ramin, you are the Phantom for the 21st century. I couldn't have thought of a better Phantom. You know, the work that you've done in taking this part forward, absolutely incredible. He turns around to Sierra and goes, Sierra, you are my ideal Christine, like your embodiment of the angelic voice of an angel. Thank you so much for being part of this tonight. And he turns and looks at me, and I can see his face go blank. And he's looking at me, say the audience is here and I'm here, and he goes, and haven't we had a lovely time? And it was in that moment that I thought, it's okay. It's all good, isn't it?
He said it with his eyes.
Never get too big for your boots. Never. It was a memento mori, if one can exist, to really just to keep hold of the fact that you're never as big as you think you are.
No. Have you ever had a conversation with Andrew about that?
No.
No. Did you never work for him again?
No.
Oh my gosh. See, I'm like you, Hadley. I would remember moments like that more than singing with Barbra Streisand.
Yeah.
What was singing with Barbra like?
Incredible.
Yeah.
That was a whole unique, obviously. I had a FaceTime from her out of the blue. And I was like, how'd you get my number? And I'm just like,
did you know it was coming, or did it just pop up Barbra Streisand? Because
it came unknown. It came unknown. Well, I don't have her number.
Well, I don't know.
2 days prior to that, her director phoned me and said, I want you to sing with Barbra. Mm-hmm. I'm taking my son to boxing, so it's on the speakerphone in the car. I'm like, now I didn't know him well enough to connect him to Barbra Streisand. Mm-hmm. I just went, Richard. I met him like 2 weeks prior. I want you to sing with Barbra. I'm like, Barbra who? He goes, Barbra fucking Streisand. I was like, well, I don't know any Barbra on first name basis, let alone Ms. Streisand. I was like, yeah, sure she does. She's going to call you. I said, okay, whatever. Friday night, boom, there's Barbra Streisand. I was like, hi, Barbra.
What did you say?
How are you? Yeah. She goes, I want you to come sing with me at Hyde Park. I was like, why? Okay.
Why me?
So we set up a rehearsal at her massive suite at the Savoy.
Mm-hmm.
I get there and the guy comes over to me. Man, I'm so nervous singing after you. It's Lionel Richie.
What?
And I'm like, Lionel Richie. I come, we're sitting around the piano. Her team's there. We're having sandwiches, tea, all chatting away like friends. She's so relaxed, very...
What does Barbara have in a sandwich?
I didn't look that.
Did she
I
have a
was
certain
nervous.
smell to her? What was her perfume? Floral?
Well, the whole room smelled amazing.
Was it a sandwich?
Was it a salmon
I
sandwich?
think it was tuna and cheese.
Oh my God.
I don't know. And then on a break, I remember Lionel talking about, well, remember the first time you cut a check for your first million for writing a song? Remember I wrote for Otis? Talking about Otis Redding, The Temptations, and I'm like, then they look at me and my buddy Hadley, we wrote a song. But it was extraordinary. 70,000 people coming to see this woman.
Hell.
And I remember I had to come and sing Till I Hear You Sing while she goes to get changed before we come and duet. She goes, turn around, and if I'm not there, just talk to the audience. I'm like,
my gosh.
so there's me, Lionel Richie, and may you rest in peace, Chris Christopherson.
Oh.
Wow.
Get them to talk. They don't know me. I looked back and I was like, no. I don't know what I said. I won't watch it back. I just, please, God, let it be coherent, make sense. And then when she came out, I was like, oh, thank God.
Thank God. I mean, that is quite iconic, to be honest. That story
She
you
was
just told.
generous, awesome.
So exceeded expectations, even though you probably didn't have any.
I really didn't have any, you know. And I must admit, if I'm perfectly honest, I think the first time I ever heard Barbra Streisand sing was when she was singing in my face.
Oh my gosh. That is a story. Now I can't
But I
keep,
like his story.
yeah, your story is my kind of
Relatable.
story. If I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, like that got me. That tickled me.
Yeah.
Also, I think it's good to stay grounded, stay humble.
Yeah.
Feet on the ground.
Yeah.
Hadley,
Hello.
advice for those who want to cross over into TV from theatre. What advice would you give them?
I think it all comes from the same instinct, It's
Mm-hmm.
just telling a story, isn't it, I suppose? Ramin's done as much television as I have, to be honest. It's, I suppose, an exercise in doing less, when you're in front of the camera, isn't it? I did a film with a director called David Yates, who directed a lot of the Harry Potter films and things like that. We did a film called Tarzan. I think it was called Legend of Tarzan.
It was
And I played Tarzan's dad.
The Legend of Tom.
A friend of mine says that I'm Britain's premier flashback actor because I've done quite a few of those now. But David said on set, and I remember this direction of the day, he said, if you feel it, we feel it. You don't need to show it.
Wow.
And I suppose you can extend that into the theatre as well, isn't it? But there's a certain degree of stagecraft involved in the theatre whereby you have to hit the person in the back row and all that kind of stuff. I think when you're on screen, I suppose that's my instinct. Yeah, that feeling of if you feel it, we feel it.
Very good advice. Also rung deep with me as well. And then Ramin, last question. What advice, because obviously, yes, it's a very, we don't take ourselves too seriously. We're not saving lives. We love our jobs. But within the industry, there is a lot of rejection. What advice would you give someone who is trying to navigate rejection?
I can speak from experience because I've had rejection, and I never let it make me think I was less than or not good enough. It's what maybe could I have done differently? What could I learn from it? What could I take away? And also having that faith of sometimes doors are closed for other ones to open. If I look back now, the things I didn't get would have changed maybe a trajectory that I was on that also was right for me in life, for family and situations. That does happen for a reason, and you have to believe that. So win or learn. That's what I always think.
You two are just the best ever. Should we make a WhatsApp group or something?
Let's do it.
Yeah, come on.
Okay.
Well, we've got to start writing the book, let's face
Yeah.
it. You've got to start
Okay.
sending over some drafts for the front cover,
Okay.
all of that kind of stuff. So
Well, guys, we're going to be super busy now after this episode. So thank you so much for listening. And you two, you've been an absolute honour. So thank you for coming.
You've been amazing. Thanks for having us.
Thank
thank you so much, Amber. Thank you.
Bye.